Marvel paused a couple of Disney Plus shows up and coming for a good reason, and uh we finally might be fixing the plus problem, because Disney Plus has been the thing that has unfortunately been ruining Marvel, in my opinion, making it so much more saturated, so much more homework to keep up with. Right now I'm trying to look up, because I know Daniel RPK gave some more specific details about why some of these shows were taken down. So let me see if I can pop this up. 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. Okay, so the shows that got paused was Nova, Terror Inc., Strange Academy, and was expected to focus on Wong. So I'm going to tell you the details of what each one of this show is. And pause doesn't mean canceled. I think this is going to be part of the Secret Wars soft reboot. I think right now Kevin Feige is just racing to get Secret Wars done and over with, so we can have a one connected whole universe, and not and all this multiverse and mess and things going on can be done with. So this is probably going to be stuff we'll see after Secret Wars. Now, here we go. I got some details about this. So we were being told. I have a few details on what was in store for these shows. For Nova, so let's start off with Nova. This from coming from Daniel RPK from his Patreon. The show was set to be helmed by Ed Bernero, known for his work on Criminal Minds, and would have followed Richard Ryer in the aftermath of Thanos obliterating Xandar. The story thrust Ryder into the role of rebuilding the Nova Corps just as Annihilus and the Annihilation Wave were invading. Threatening to take over the universe, Ryder would lead a squad of fellow Novas, including Sam Alexander and a handful of original characters in their 20s. The team behind the show had their sights set for a major name like Austin Butler, Glenn Close, John C. Reilly were slated to return as the Guardians of the Galaxy characters. Dude, they had set up Nova a long time ago. If you guys remember in Guardians, which I can't even spell right now, but the Guardians one was there with John C. Reilly. There we go. He's right here. John C. Reilly, part of member of the Nova Corps. And it happened off screen, which is like the origin of Nova, where all the Novas get killed. And there was a line, I think it was in Infinity War, where like, oh, Thanos went to Xandar and got the stones, meaning he got there and killed everybody in his way to get those stones. So like it literally happened off screen almost like what, 6 years ago now, and we still have not seen the payoff of that setup for Nova, and we're gonna have to end up keep waiting for that. So I'm like, all right, that's fine. The Strange Academy show, I think, was probably something I was like, dang, that would have been awesome to see. So, Strange Academy, the show was set to be helmed by Amy Rardin, who did Echo. Okay, maybe it wouldn't have been that awesome, but still, hear this out. This one had Wong stepping up as the head of Wizarding School in New Orleans. The show would have centered on his efforts to train a new generation of sorcerers, including America Chavez and Zelma Stanton. It was described as Marvel's answer to Harry Potter and Wednesday. Okay, I would have watched that. That actually sounded awesome, and it was perfectly set up at the end of Multiverse of Madness. I don't know if you guys remember America Chavez, played by the adorable which is her name, Sochi? I forgot how to pronounce it. Sochi Gomez. She at the end of that movie is like training in the sorcerer school, trying to do her things, get a hone in on her magic and her powers and whatnot. And I don't even know when we'll ever see this character again. Is she going to be the thing that helps us travel to different planets in Doomsday or Secret Wars? I mean, she can open those portals, so hopefully. And the show would have probably explained how she's mastered that power. So then by the time we saw her in Doomsday or Secret Wars, we're ready to go. But that would have been a cool show. Wong as the lead, as a teacher in a school full of magicians. Like they said, it would have been Harry Potter meets Wednesday. I think that would have been pretty nice. That actually would have been awesome to see. Hopefully, it still ends up happening, because even though these are paused and could happen in the future, I wouldn't be surprised if they just end up disappearing and they don't end up going through. So, yeah, especially if like Wong dies in Doomsday or Secret Wars, which I think is a possibility, because right now this guy is the Sorcerer Supreme. How's the only other way for Doctor Strange to become the Sorcerer Supreme? This guy has to die. Doomsday Secret Wars could be the end of Wong, and then we don't get that show. Just saying. Just saying. Okay. Then this Terror Inc., which unfortunately I have never heard about this or understood what that was, but we have details here thanks to Daniel RPK. He said here, Terror Inc., finally, the show was set to be helmed by Peter Cameron, who did Carnival Row and WandaVision, and was shaping up to be something entirely different. Like the comics it's based on, the series would have followed Terror, an immortal anti hero who gains abilities by grifting the limbs of others onto himself. Oh, it was pitched as a full on horror show for mature audiences. Word is Terror was also slated to join the Midnight Suns film when that was in development. So why the pause? Marvel is taking a different approach now. They won't greenlight a series until they see a pilot they're satisfied with. They also want to focus on grounded and cheaper shows. Okay, couple of things on that. I should have read that paragraph last. But anyways, I'd never heard of this character, but that sounded kind of cool. And anything in the horror realm and mature, which is what Marvel is now okay with doing, because there was a time they would, like, remember when they branded Moon Knight as the most adult and mature Disney Plus show, and you watch it and you go, I saw like 2 ounces of blood, buddy. That was nothing. And now you're looking at the trailers for Daredevil and all that, and you're like, oh, they're actually willing to now do some adult stuff, finally. So that would have actually have been cool, and that would have been a nice show. But I like the part of the end of why these shows are being paused and why Marvel is taking a step back. For the longest time, Marvel was not making their Disney Plus shows like a regular TV show. It seemed to me like Marvel had ideas for movies, and then they're like, cut that up into 6 pieces and let's make that a show, which I think is terrible television. No offense. No. If this was supposed to be a movie, make it a movie. Don't just cut it up into 6 pieces and whatnot. Instead, they're doing the traditional TV thing where they're like, we have this idea. Let's see if it works out. Make a pilot. And that's what you do in TV world. You make a pilot. You see if this can actually be something. And sometimes when you see a pilot, you realize, no, that's not going to be a good show. Let's not move forward with that and waste our money. Or that's a great idea. Let's move forward with that. So they're headed now into more of a direction where they're going to do things traditionally. And heck, we've seen that lately because now they have showrunners. They didn't used to have showrunners. They used to just have directors and a writing team. Now they're finally moving into the direction of like, let's make these TV shows like actual TV shows. And so, yeah, that might end up being good for them. We'll see what happens. I'm still of the camp that if tomorrow they announced we're done making TV shows for Marvel, I'm happy with that. You could still make the animated stuff. But this, I don't know, man. I don't know. So anyways, that's what's happening here. We'll see what happens after Secret Wars and if these things end up coming to fruition. All right.